Fear is part of life. There's always something we're afraid of, and it doesn't just go away. And here in the sewing room, there's loads of things we can be afraid of. And even though I've been sewing for a few years already, there's stuff, there are things or situations I'm afraid to do because I don't know what the result is going to be. Maybe it's mistakes that are amendable, or maybe new things that I don't want to really try, but there's always something behind our back. So stay with me while I'll tell you about mine, and then later you can tell me about yours in the comments. And if you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe if you like sewing, because this is all about sewing. I upload twice a week, and that way you won't miss anything. Oh, and at the end of the video we can count how many times I've said fear during the video. This is going to sound ridiculous, but I am always afraid to start. I always have this fear before starting. I have my pattern, or if I have a pattern or I create my pattern, I have my fabric, I have everything I need, and then it strikes. It's that time when all of your fears combine and you can't even move. You stare looking at your cutting table or wherever you're sewing, and it's impossible for you to make a move to start. It still happens to me. I just need some time to breathe and drink a bit of water, and then I'll start. But my heart pumps really fast at that time. It's terrible. Does it happen to you? Fear of cutting your fabric. I don't know when this will ever go away, but it still happens, and it's more or less rational. It's logical because you spend some money buying some fabric, and it's not as when you buy a garment that you might ruin it in the washing machine, but it's not likely. But this one has more mistakes that are probable to make because you're making it from scratch. So you're afraid of ruining it. Things that you can check that the pattern you chose has the right size, or if you make your own pattern, that you measure yourself properly, and of course make sure you leave enough seam allowance so it doesn't end up smaller than you thought. But for the rest, just breathe. I have a terrible fear of stabbing myself with the needle, and it's something still in the back of my mind when I come sewing. Even when I'm holding the fabric, when the needle comes down, if this screw hits my finger, I really jump. It's something that scares me a lot. I've seen pictures of people that have the needle right in the middle of their finger, and it's really scary. Not that I look for them, something that pops on Reddit from time to time, and it's really scary. How to avoid it? Just being careful and knowing where your fingers are where pushing the fabric. And if you really need to hold something tight or really close to the needle, just hold it with the seam ripper and not with your fingers. The fear of not knowing how to go on. If you get stuck with a technique and you don't know the steps or how to go on, what steps to follow, it's really annoying. Not annoying, it's very overwhelming. And it's something that still happens to me because I didn't study any of this. I learned on my own, and sometimes if I'm making something new, if I'm following a new technique, I don't know how to do it. The good thing is that nowadays there's lots of information everywhere, and you can Google anything, and you'll end up more or less knowing what to do. I'm really into reading more than looking at videos, but even you can have a look at other networks like Instagram or TikTok, because people upload little tips and it's really easy to find as well. The fear of not having good finishings, it's real. It's something that happens a lot, and it's as simple as the seams looking straight, or for example, the hem having all the same measurements all around. So it's quite easy to achieve. You just have to take your time while measuring, while sewing, and not be in a rush. Because if you're in a rush, things are going to end badly and you're not going to have the finish you want, and it's going to look weird to the eye. Once you have it done, it's not going to look nice. So take your time and enjoy your sewing so you can have a good finishings. The fear to face difficulties. This is something, in my case, I hate when I have to work with things that escape my control, that I cannot control at all. For example, stretchy fabrics. It's something I cannot master because my machine has loads of trouble sewing them. I've tried different fit. I've tried the stretch needle, sewing with special threads, and nothing works. It's just the thing that's working the most is the zigzag that is a part, that is a zigzag with 3 little stitches. That's the one that's working more or less for now. But it's something that really gets me. Every time I see a stretchy fabric, I think, oof, that's going to be a pain, and it is. But I cannot really do much about it. I just can breathe and go with the flow. Pattern magazines, I know. I love getting them, I love having a look at them and dreaming about what I'm going to sew, but I always have so many problems while sewing them. They are not explained enough, they are not easy to follow, and of course, I didn't know you have to check that your size is your size, because sometimes it's not, even though they tell you you are a size X. So it's something that really annoys me. It takes so much time, so long, but I know it's also, they are also so nice to see, and when I see them in the kiosk, I can't just not get them, can I? So is this something that happens to you, or is it just me? The good thing, again, is that if you don't understand the steps, you can always Google something and find out what you have to do. And I understand that if they were to explain everything, this will be an encyclopedia, but it isn't, so it has to be short. But still, they could explain things a bit better, couldn't they? And one fear you're not going to have in common with me, at least most of you, is the fear of YouTube. I want to make videos that are nice to watch but useful as well, and every time I want to film a video, I get really nervous because I want to make videos that are entertaining, that are useful to people that are starting to sew. I've learned on my own, so I want people to think that they can as well. So it's always this, I always get nervous. I fear that I'm not doing it properly, I'm wasting my time and yours while watching it, I'm not being productive, and I have lots of mistakes I need to work on. There's lots of things to take into account. The way I talk, the way I explain things, the lighting, everything, the way I film, loads of things to take into account when I film. So I want to do it properly and I still get nervous. I guess that's good because I'm concerned about what I'm doing, but still, well, let's see. Well, at the end of the day, fears are just that, and if you fear something, it's because it escapes your control or you are not used to doing it. So by doing it, you get better at it, of course. So just breathe, take a sip of water, or maybe even have some sweets around in the sewing room that can help you cope with new stuff or with stuff you are afraid of. And please don't forget to subscribe if you're not around here, and to give it a like, it helps me a lot. And I leave you a link to everything talking in the sewing room, frustrations, things I wish I had known, things that make sense in my sewing room, and loads of interesting stuff. And I'll see you around. Bye.